Teammates, SEAC retired Ray Colón-López here, coming to you from beautiful North Carolina. It's been a while since I retired, and I've been paying close attention to the unfolding world events, more specifically regarding your purpose for the future fight. I wanted to spend a little bit of time today just sharing my own experiences, talking to you about what we encountered 20 years ago when we started the global war on terror, and what my personal assessment is for what you need to prepare and endure here in the near future. So, going back to 2001, I was part of the Joint Special Operations Command, a counterterrorism force designed to execute its mission only when the glass needed to be shattered. Shortly after the towers were hit and the planes crashed and struck their targets, all of that changed. Our mission became a very flexible enterprise in order to do whatever the nation needed us to do. Some people came from the north in Afghanistan. They had never seen a horse in their life, and they had to go ahead and use that as their vehicle. They were on horseback in a matter of minutes. People coming in from the south had to employ tactics that they had never thought about doing before. And once we hit the ground in Afghanistan to engage in combat operations, it was all about making sure that you were flexible enough to counter whatever the enemy threw at you. The fact that they were not wearing uniforms, the fact that you didn't know friend from foe in the villages, the fact that you had to make some tough decisions with minimal chain of command present, it was all new to every single one of us. And I share that with you because that is exactly what you're going to encounter here in the near future. The enemy is always going to get a vote, and the only thing that you can do is be ready to counter everything that they throw at you. So, what does that mean to you? Specifically, with all of the AFSCs, all the specialty codes that we have out there, combat field, support mechanisms, sustainment, it is all the same for every single one of you. And there's three attributes that I want to bring forward for you to think about as you prepare for this next fight. The first one is character. Character is really who you are, how dedicated you are to your self development, your integrity, and what you're willing to bring to the fight. How honest you are when it comes to your warfighting capabilities and how well you're willing to execute them. And most importantly, how humble you're going to be to realize what you do not know and capitalize on the things that you do know. The second is competence, which ties directly to your skills. What that means is for every single one of you, regardless of AFSC, once again, to be the best technician that you can be. It doesn't matter whether you're turning wrenches, feeding the troops, building tents, taking care of the human weapon system via medical duties, or if you're the one pulling the trigger to bring the fight to the enemy. Every single one of you has got to be the best of the best in order to be victorious. And the last attribute is commitment. How far are you willing to go? How much are you willing to sacrifice? And to what length are you willing to do everything in your power as a human being to make sure that you're taking care of your people to your left and to your right? And most importantly, to be a dependable and loyal teammate. That is what we like to call a fire and forget entity. That is the most value that we learned from the last 20 years in conflict. That when you have dependable people, things just seem to work. Mission seems to go as planned, regardless of all of those things that Murphy will throw at you. And you have some good after action reports because people are quick to highlight their weaknesses and their failures while capitalizing on their successes. That is probably one of the most powerful lessons that we learn in the global war on terror. That as long as people own their turf, we can do anything and everything that gets thrown at us. So, what does that look like in this new near peer competition or conflict? Well, the enemy is far more sophisticated than what we saw here over the last 2 decades. The enemy is also very, very savvy on the cyber and information space. What that means to you is that they're not only willing to hit you on the battlefield, but they're willing to disrupt you in the home front. Misinformation, cyber attacks, deep fakes, artificial intelligence are all things that will be employed against every single one of you. And you have to be ready to react from that. Trust is a big entity when it comes to dealing with all of the things that I just mentioned. Because as long as you trust your chain of command, they'll be able to give you the information that you need to stay focused on the mission when you're forward and to have the peace of mind that your families are taken care of back here in the homeland. I personally, as a veteran, will do my part when you guys move forward to go ahead and bring this fight to the enemy and do everything in our power to make sure that your families and your loved ones are taken care of, that they're well informed, and that we're not letting the media machine get the best of them. We want to alleviate that worry on their side so that it doesn't translate or transit across the oceans to your head and get inside your brain and make you combat ineffective. Because combat effectiveness is really your lot in life. Every single one of you has to realize that, like me, like my predecessors, and the people that have come generations before us, have taken that oath of enlistment. And that oath says, we state our name, do solemnly swear that we will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the officers appointed over me in accordance with regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. There is your roadmap for the future. There is where you need to plug in your character, your competence, and your commitment to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to be the most lethal warrior the nation can bring forward. There you will find your moral compass for every hard decision that you're going to have to make. And there you will find the comfort when you have to sacrifice more than the average American when it comes to preserving our freedom. It's not going to be an easy task. I'll tell you that right now. But you have technology on your side. You have intellect on your side. The new generation of warriors is far smarter than what we used to be back when I came in the early 90s. And we have full confidence that every single one of you is going to rise up to the occasion, much like we did on September 12th, 2001, when we started our fight. There's going to be many things that you're not going to agree with. There's going to be many hard calls that will be made. But every single one of you has to remember that oath, that promise that you made the American people, that you will do anything in your power, even give your own life in the defense of the Constitution, fight for your teammates, but most importantly, fight because you love what you left behind in the United States of America. It is really an honor and a privilege to be here addressing you today because I've been just looking in amazement at the capabilities that every single one of you has. All the technology that you have at your fingertips and the support that you have from higher. But I will caution you that heavy reliance on technology can easily be your downfall. If you can imagine everything that you're looking at right now that requires a power button and a charging cable gets turned off, how well can you operate? Can you still bring the fight with the same confidence and fervor to the enemy as you would when you have the comfort and technology? Every single one of us has got to be ready for every contingency. And an analog fight is probably going to be the most contentious one. When there's no communications, when there's no GPS, when there's no means for you to be told what to do. That is where the human weapon system thrives. This is our hard drive. This is our processor. This is where the power clicks in, and your actions are going to be the result of that fight. If you take none, we will lose. But if you do everything in your power, we're going to kick somebody's ass. It's been an honor addressing you here today. I am proud of every single one of you. And I want you to know that every single one of you has access to me at any given time. Why? Because we care about you. We care to make you better than who we were. And we care about your success on the battlefield. But the one thing that we care the most about is to preserving the integrity and the credibility of this great nation of ours. That is the reason we wear the uniform every day. It's not because of personal desires and comforts. It's because of the sacrifice and all that we're willing to give in order to preserve that. Bring the fight to the enemy. Be ready when your time comes and be the best teammate that you can be. Much love and respect, and I'll see you soon.